What's going on YouTube? It's Adrian from Pipedreamhookah. It probably says that somewhere on your screen. And before I get into the meat of this video, I just wanted to remind you guys about a giveaway that I have going on. I'll leave the link, if YouTube lets me do it, like right here. If you're not aware of it, you can get the details here. I just want to remind you guys that it's not going to be this Friday, but next Friday that the winners are announced. So if you haven't entered, check this video out. It's free to enter, and 3 of you are going to win a pretty cool prize. And for those of you who need a refresher, the prize is going to be 2 Fakhamah flavors of your choice. And good news, this week's review is going to be on one of them. It's going to be the Mojito. Now where's that blue brick wall and that music that I have playing at the beginning of my videos? Alright you guys, so like I said, today we're going to be going over the next Fakhamah flavor before the giveaway, and that is going to be on the Mojito. Now I'm going to make this one a little bit shorter than the last one. The last one went on a lot longer than I wanted it to. So because of that, I'll try to keep this one a little less lengthy. So I'm going to kind of breeze over the packing method and the packaging and stuff, because if you want to check that stuff out, go to this video. Hopefully I can link it in YouTube. I think this is the second time I'm pointing to something to link into YouTube and hoping that in post I'll be able to put it here. So if I'm pointing at nothing, I'm dumb. But yeah, if you want to see how I packed it, it's going to be very similar to how I packed it in the last video for the Fakhamah grapefruit iced tea. So either go to that video, or I'll go ahead and drop like a picture or a quick video here for you so you can kind of see what the pack actually looks like in the 80 feet bowl. And if you guys are interested in checking out the setup, I'm sure you can see it pretty well from here. But for any of you who aren't familiar, this is going to be the Starbuzz Atlantis 1.0, the short version of this particular Starbuzz Made in America hookah. We've got the D-hose with the aluminum handle. We again have the 80 feet bowl up top, blue base on the bottom, by the way, blue bell base for any of you who actually care about that kind of thing. We got the Provost up top, the lid's actually closed. Maybe I'll put a picture in that because you can't see it from this angle. I'm trying out new lighting and a new kind of angle for the camera, so forgive me if it's weird. I'm not really sure how it's gonna turn out. And then, like I said, Provost lid's closed, got 2 titanium cubes in there. Alright, so moving right along to the meat of this review, let's go ahead and analyze this tobacco as we always do, starting with the scent. So let's open this up and see what we get. So it's really pleasant. Right off the bat, you can definitely tell that this has like some lime flavoring in it, and it definitely smells like it's going to try to be a artificial alcoholic type beverage. I smoked a lot of Starbuzz back in the day, so I know when tobaccos are trying to go for that type of a flavor profile and the scent. But beyond that, yeah, I'm really just getting a lime and that really generic kind of a alcoholic scent in the background. Not really sure what type of alcoholic scent it's going to be because it tends to be pretty generic in hookah tobaccos. It does smell like it's going to be a little bit tangy, like mojitos tend to be, but we'll see about that when we actually end up tasting it. But as far as the scent on this tobacco goes, you can definitely tell that they're going for some type of a mojito flavor just by smelling it. So I guess that's pretty good, although the scent doesn't come across quite as strong as the scent on the grapefruit iced tea did, so take that for what it's worth. But we're not going to linger on the scent for too long because it's time for the most important part of the video. Let's look at some clouds. Need some water. I really wasn't expecting that. I got a pretty decent buzz from this tobacco. Now again, I tend to shoot these reviews right after work, so I sometimes forget to actually eat before shooting one of these reviews. So because of that, I got a bit of a buzz. I wouldn't expect a crazy buzz as long as you're well hydrated and you've eaten. But if there's nothing in your system, I gotta learn to turn my phone off before I start shooting these. But yeah, as long as you're well hydrated and you've got some food in your system, I really wouldn't expect any type of real buzz from this. Maybe a small one if you're newer to hookah. but nothing too crazy. Mine was a little bit over-exaggerated because I happen to be dehydrated and I didn't eat anything. I haven't eaten since like noon. It's like 7 p.m. right now and I'm a big guy. But all of that said, as you guys can see, the clouds from this stuff are absolutely outstanding. Very similar to what you saw in the actual grapefruit iced tea review of the same brand. Big, full, nice, robust clouds. Nothing to really write home about when you actually take into account the entire market and some of the stuff that other tobacco brands produce, like maybe Trifecta's Dark Leaf, but this absolutely fantastic. Now I know that I said this was the most important part, but I was being a bit facetious. What is actually the most important part when we're critically analyzing any shishi tobacco is going to be the flavor profile. And as you guys know, I like to do it on the inhale and the exhale because the flavor profiles tend to differ a little bit. So let's go ahead and get into the inhale like you do. Alright, so much like the last flavor I reviewed from this brand, the flavor profile on the inhale is going to do a very good job at representing the scent you actually get when you open this bad boy up and check the scent of the tobacco. It's going to come across as a tobacco that really wants to taste like a mojito. I don't feel that it's quite nailing it in the head. It's just coming across as a general lime with some type of a vague, wannabe alcoholic flavor in the background. And much like limes tend to be, this is quite a bit of a tart smoke. So take that for what it's worth. It's pretty, I wouldn't call it single note, it's probably double note. You get that tart lime and then kind of that overly sweet alcoholic flavor, but the sweet flavor definitely is more in the background. You're going to get a lot of that lime flavor at the forefront. So I guess to sum it up on the inhale, I'm getting mostly a lime. So let's move along to the exhale. Okay, so on the exhale, the flavor profile is going to remain mostly unchanged. The intensity of the flavor is just going to dip down just a little bit, like tobaccos tend to do on the exhale versus the inhale. So all in all, I would say the flavor profile comes across as mostly just a lime with, like I said, a bit of that vague alcoholic flavor in the background. That I kind of liken to Starbuzz. Whenever Starbuzz is an alcoholic type of a flavor, they tend to have this same flavor in the background. So this actually does smoke quite a bit like a Starbuzz flavor in terms of the actual flavor profile itself. Now, how does this stuff handle itself in a mix? Much like the grapefruit iced tea, actually very well. I find that when I actually mix this with different types of tobaccos, and I will put a little note in here, I tend not to mix this particular tobacco or brand of tobacco with dark leaf so much because this is really a blonde leaf tobacco. Pretty low nicotine content. It smokes fairly airy. It's not a very intense or heavy smoke. So I tend to keep it on the blonde on blonde type of a blonde on blonde. I tend to mix it only with blondes. But it handles its own very well in a mix. Flavors that I think would be really good to mix this with would be like a mint, or maybe another fruit flavor. Even the grapefruit iced tea in this at a 50-50 mix, it turned out great. I think I mentioned that in the video review for the grapefruit iced tea. Like I said in the video before, so this is kind of redundant, but I'm gonna let you guys know so you don't have to go check that video out. It takes heat pretty well. I've got the lid on with the 2 cubes, and the tobacco, as you saw, is packed right up to the rim. So it's actually taking heat fairly well. Nothing insane. It's something I would expect from a modern shisha tobacco. You need to be able to take heat because now that we're using really nice coconut coals and stuff like that, and if you're using quick lights, I would highly recommend you stop. I'll get into that in a later video. But yeah, if you're using, you know, these nice higher heat titaniums, and that heat is actually being, it's kind of an exponential type of an effect when you actually use the Provost because it holds the heat really well. It's handling the heat just fine. And in this particular bowl, I'm going to get about 1 round of coals because it is the 80 feet bowl. If I went with something like the wide gauge Harmony or maybe an Apache large, I could easily expect to get 2 rounds of coals. Now, before I actually wrap this video up, I'm going to go ahead and rate this bad boy on the 10 scale for you guys, taking into account the scent, flavor clouds, mixability, heat resistance, and all that other stuff. So, looking at all of those factors, I'm going to have to give this tobacco a rating of 7 out of 10. And the main reason I give it a 7 out of 10 instead of something lower like a 6 or something higher like an 8 is because while I do feel that this tobacco has a decent flavor profile and it takes heat very well, I don't know if I remembered to mention at the beginning of this video, so if I didn't, this is the first you're going to hear of it unless you watch the Grapefruit Iced Tea review. The cut on the tobacco is actually very sloppy, and it varies from different flavor to different flavor, and I think that being batch issue. So I think they're experiencing some consistency issues over at Fakhamah. So that's kind of an issue. Now, if you get a really leafy batch, you can always cut it up, but that causes extra work. But I feel like in today's day and age, with all these modern hookah smokers and all these really nice brands we have, we shouldn't have to do anything besides open our tobacco up, mix it up, and pack it. So it's definitely getting some markdowns for the consistency issues. And on top of that, I don't feel that this necessarily tastes like a mojito flavor, but that's just my opinion. So that's kind of why it's going to get a 7 out of 10. Now, if you're really into lime flavors, you can bump it up. And if you're not into lime flavors, or you really don't like that Starbuzz alcoholic drink type flavor they put in those shisha tobaccos, you can probably knock it down a peg or two. So that's just something to keep in mind if you're thinking about picking this stuff up. And hey, are you thinking about picking this stuff up? Because if you are, I've got a place for you to go. I'd head over to 5 Star Hookah, link down in the description, and Alex and Mary from over there, they're going to take care of you guys real good. They have awesome prices on all their tobacco. They've got a decent shipping time, and beyond all that, they have a vast selection of different products for you guys to choose from, so I definitely recommend going over there. And hey, say maybe you don't want to spend a ton of money. Maybe you want to get a bit of a discount over there at 5 Star Hookah. Well, if you use this promo code, PIPED15, P-I-P-E-D-15, spelled as it's written here, that'll actually give you 15% off everything from 5 Star Hookah that isn't already on sale, because they can't be giving shit away for free. But feel free to use that if you want to get a pretty hefty discount off of your final price for your order. That said, I think that's going to about wrap this video up. I've got a pretty good one coming to you guys Friday, so keep your eyes open for that. Spoiler alert, it's going to be on a bowl. I'm not going to tell you which bowl I got though. But yeah, I've got a bowl review coming out, and hey, if you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up, and I would highly recommend subscribing if you're into this type of content, because I'm pumping out minimum 2 videos a week. In fact, every other week it's going to be 3 videos if you take into account the Alfakr series. So that's something cool to keep in mind. And hey, if you have any comments, questions, or criticisms, leave them down in, that was loud, whatever that was, leave them down in the comments below. I'd be happy to interact with you guys and answer any questions you might have. Same with any requests, drop those down in the box below as well. I'd be happy to bring you guys reviews for any products you want to know a little bit more about before actually committing to a purchase. So that's going to wrap it up. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, happy smoking.